So the new contract is basically close to 100 million.
What's the percentage that ATI will retain from that 100 million?
65 for us being the client,
Got it.
and then 35.
So 65 million.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's a good deal right there.
And you pay these like Accentures to do the job. And so it's really minimum work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, that's really, in reality, that's what's happening. I'm not talking bad about my firm, but yeah.
It sounds like you're a pastor.
Yeah.
Pastor. Pastor. Unless Elon comes in and changes the group, changes the law. You take out the
Pastor subspace. I don't think they have to touch the native, American or native Indian.
and they're not going to cut the Native American. It's a layer of protection. Man, most people don't even know your ATI name.
But they make good money though.
They make great money. I mean, you fly on the radar and you take 75%, and nobody even knows your name. Vice versa. Hey, God bless America.
Reading from the Daily Wire, Luke Rosiak, I'm pronouncing that right. Quarter of minority contracting firms banned after refusing an anti-fraud check. So the SBA government is saying, hey, could you provide us just a scooch of information, standard reporting information, so that we can verify that you're a on the up and up company? And a quarter of them, 1,000 of them that got $5 billion worth of contracted work just said, nope, no can do or no want to. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Here we go. More than 1,000 firms that could get no-bid contracts from the federal government because they're owned by purportedly disadvantaged, love that, minorities have been banned from the program after they missed a deadline to turn over anti-fraud documents. And by anti-fraud, we mean just documents in general proving that you're a legit business. Documents requested by the SBA because of the frequency of pass-through scams. And we're going to talk about one of those. We're going to read about one of those where minority fronts get contracts, then have large or white-owned businesses do the work while keeping a cut. That is what we just heard. We just heard our one dude talk about, yeah. I mean, it's a great scam. It's a great scam because you've basically got somebody who was the figurehead, the minority. Oh yeah, I qualify. You betcha. Lesbian. Oh yeah. Love. Yeah. Give us the contract. And then they go out. They have no business getting the contract, but because of DEI, they were able to go out. They get the contract. They go out and just sub it out. Just, come on in. And then you've got these partner programs, not partner programs, but partners. The actual companies doing the work. It's fantastic. I mean, it's a great scam, but all good things come to an end sometimes, right? The now suspended firms received more than $5 billion in federal money in the last 4 years, make up a quarter of all contractors getting preference under the so-called 8A law. Now, the 8A program is under heavy, heavy fire because a bunch of fraud, just like what's happening in Minneapolis, just like what's happening in Washington State, just like what's happening in general in California. You just got a whole bunch of fraud, and people are going, weird. Maybe we should check on that. Trump administration has acted from day one to dismantle the discriminatory agenda that put white small business owners at a disadvantage and to crack down on the fraud and corruption that proliferates within DEI programs. Toss all those DEI programs because they're racist. Let's see. Are you a minority? Yep. Okay. Based on racism, we're going to award you this contract. Today, we're suspending over 1,000 8A firms who have refused to provide basic documents that every legitimate business should have on hand. Hey, you got a profit and loss statement for the last year? You got an income expense report? Do you have articles of incorporation? Basic stuff, right? Senate Committee on Small Business held a hearing on waste, fraud, and abuse, during which this reporter, our dude, testified on the widespread fraud that exists around it. And our author here has done a ton of articles basically on this topic, just kind of documenting this whole process as it goes along. It's, it's not shocking given the, given the Biden administration was just, handing out money left and right. I mean, why not? Kind of like Tim Walz, kind of like Coach Walz, Tampon Tim in Minnesota. Oh yeah. Let's just get that money to those Somalis. Under the law, 5% of contracts must be reserved for disadvantaged businesses, which President Joe Biden increased, or his auto pen increased to 15%. Minorities with less than $1 million of dollars were automatically considered disadvantaged, as were all women. Okay. I mean, all right. Because they're the best ones to handle the task, handle the project, do the work completed. No, they're just the right. You get what we're saying here. So here's kind of an example of that. How the military gave a homeless lesbians minority contracting firm $19 million. Let's get into some of that action. Male energy is heavy and warlike and long overdue for a reduction. I mean, yeah. Here's an example of what we're talking about by Luke Rosaziak. However you pronounce that. How the military gave a homeless lesbians minority contracting firm $19 million. And male energy is heavy and warlike. Well, yeah, men typically fight wars. But anyway, and long overdue for a reduction. You have a reduction in male energy. I don't know. You need male energy at times. You need female energy at times too. Right? I mean, each one has certain tasks and things that are the whole thing. Oh, we don't need men anymore. Okay. All right. Go out and build that road. We'll see how that goes. Just get a crew of all women out there. Should be fine, right? Rhonda Valles is an aspiring California musician who once played in a band with her ex-lover, Monica Salci. In between writing and performing songs, Valles and Salci formed a company that purported to make clothes. Company never produced a stitch. Federal government paid it $19 million. I want in on that action. I don't want in on the fraud. Just, oh, hey, what? 19? Wow. That's a crap ton. I just cleared my account. Yep, we're in. Going to Vegas, putting it all on black. Spectacle demonstrates the absurdity of 8A, which requires that 5% of all federal government contracts be set aside for minority women or other disadvantaged businesses, racist program, which Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said this month has resulted in $100 million contracts going out the door without competitive bidding nearly every day. 100 million every day. It's led to paydays for flagrant middlemen who use their disadvantaged status to win government contracts only to subcontract the work to larger firms. The firms that it should have been awarded to the first time round. But because they're owned by white people, I mean, you can't say that about all of them, right? Can't say that about all of them. But, it kind of just makes you go, what are we doing here? We're just handing out money to companies that shouldn't be getting money. But because they are of a specific race, we're going to be ultra racist and say, oh yeah, they deserve it. Well, did this clothing company deserve it? Valles and Salci registered a company called Romo Productions with the SBA as a self-certified small disadvantaged business, a woman-owned business, and a Hispanic American-owned business. According to her music biography, Valles' father is German/Irish/Spanish. All right, I'm sure I could do a DNA report and come up with, I don't know, something a little wonky that you wouldn't look at me and say, oh yeah. But then do I go out and, make a company based on that? No. Oh yeah, give me the contract. I've got 1/72nd, whatever it is, right? Egyptian in me. Romo Productions offers 2 advantages: quality, scale production, and woman-owned small business. Not 3. This means government buyers can meet their small business set aside needs and receive well-built products that are delivered on schedule. Talking about business. Between 2009 and 2017, multiple military branches agreed to pay up to $72 million to the firm, ultimately shelling out just under $19 million to produce physical training outfits. Federal records show some were awarded without competition, while others were set aside for small businesses. But Romo Productions never had the infrastructure to produce clothes. Weird. But they said they did, and they've got the right racist going on, right? Brad Thompson, white male to whom Valley subcontracted the work, recalls how she first approached him. She said, "I got this government contract. Do you know anyone with a factory who can help me perform it? Anybody, do you have a large factory? I need to perform this contract I just got for $19 million. I need a factory. I just need a factory." She was literally living in her car. She told the Daily Wire, I can help you. Thompson's company, BT Apparel, was one of 3 factories that produced clothing for Romo Productions. Thompson sent the clothing to a space where Valley's band practiced, because she didn't have an office. She didn't have a company. She had no business getting this contract. She forwarded the packages on to the military. She never owned a machine. I had 100 employees. He said, the whole 8A thing is a farce. Based on racism. During that time, Valleys and Salchi performed their song, Token, which includes the lyric, "I need a token. Shut up, boy. Won't you be my token?" Oof. I don't know. I did play the video. It's. I got to be honest. It's kind of a banger of a song. Musical ability and running a company, they're 2 different things. Maybe you're excellent at one and not so good at the other. Okay. All right. Not making excuses, but decent song. Government inspectors visited Thompson's factory to ensure compliance with rules such as the Berry Amendment, which requires military products to be made in the U.S., started to think that there was something fraudulent going on, he said. And Thompson said he heard Valles giving the impression that she owned it. This is my factory. This is what we're doing. He hired a lawyer to obtain a copy of the government contract using public records laws, found that Valles was obligated to own the facilities that were performing the work. Because then it would actually be your company doing the work for which you were awarded millions of dollars to create clothing for the military. Military had never verified that she did. Once Valles realized Thompson was onto the scheme, a common occurrence in minority contracting called a pass-through, she demanded he give her ownership of his business, which would make her more than a middlewoman. "Sell me 10% of your business for $1, and I'll keep giving you work," he recalled her saying. I mean, yeah. If you're in the driver's seat, if you're the one with the contract, and you're at risk of losing the said contract because you don't really have a company, you don't really have a factory, you don't really have anything except a banging YouTube video about a song that refers to men as tokens. Okay, all right. Owners of the other 2 factories also began to suspect that Valles was simply siphoning government dollars as a middlewoman. Valles used legal threats and the prospect of withholding work to keep them as indentured servants. Oh, my word. Valles abruptly pulled the work from his factory and even cast a curse on him. Within 3 weeks, it was all gone because I wouldn't play ball. Wouldn't take his, 10% of the company for $1. All right. Valles sued the second factory, Paradise Sewing, asking that it be permanently restrained and enjoined from using misappropriated confidential information. Because at some point in time, you're going to have to go down the lawsuit route because somebody's going to figure out what you're doing and you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. Or how many aren't? That's the question of the hour, right? Well, we got 1,000 right now that are like, not going to send back in the info, just basic stuff. We're not doing that because we'd have to create fraudulent reports. I mean, that is what one is led to believe. Because if you've gotten information from the government saying, "Hey, give us some indication that you're a legit business," and you can't produce that, I mean, why wouldn't you just produce that right off the bat? If you're getting big funding from the government, to make clothes for the military. I mean, anybody got a factory? Is there a factory in the house? It's insane, isn't it? But it's also pretty common because, getting money based on racism. That's what we're talking about. SBA issues clarifying guidance that race-based discrimination is not tolerated in the 8A program. And yet, we just read that story of a company that got it entirely based on racism. Oh yeah. Back in history, I had, a great-great-grandfather on my whatever side was, whatever gets the job right. Action is latest and year-long effort to dismantle DEI discrimination, expose fraud, and restore fairness in federal contracting. You know what we're seeing is we're just seeing example after example after example of federal dollars, our taxpayers' dollars, just being handed left, right, and center to all of these entities that have zero business getting this money, getting this work, getting these contracts. You know what I mean? I mean, the whole Minnesota thing, and just anybody find it interesting that the state and city with the absolute most fraud going on that we're aware of outside of California is the state and the city that is having all these shootings because they are absolutely riling up their constituents. Minnesotans are just out there protesting. They're protesting law enforcement deporting criminal illegal aliens. Make that make sense. They are protesting law enforcement getting rid of the bad guys from their environments. And they're getting so worked up that they're literally getting in altercations with ICE and they're getting killed. They're getting killed. I don't know if you've ever been to one of these peaceful protests or rallies, but they are the furthest thing from peaceful, and they are not a rally. They are an absolute, you know what show. They're terrible. You go down to the ICE facility in Portland. I mean, it's just mind-numbingly stupid banter by these knuckleheads with bullhorns saying the stupidest stuff. It's like the guy that just got capped, right? The male nurse. And then you've got pictures of him, spitting on a law enforcement car and kicking the rear light out of it. And you're like, oh, that's your peaceful protester. Okay. Right. But I find it super interesting with all the fraud that Minnesota's got going on, that Minneapolis has got going on. It's also the one with the most incidents of contact between ICE and the protesters. And these protesters, they are absolutely doing that on purpose. Absolutely on purpose. Because over the years, I mean, the Obama administration has deported how many? And, if these blue cities that don't work with ICE, if they would work with ICE, like Texas does, like Oklahoma does, and when these criminal illegals are being let out of jail or, not being let out into the community, but if law enforcement can come and grab them, you wouldn't need to have all these raids throughout the communities. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. But I think it's all tied into the fact that there's so much fraud out there, and you got to have cover-up for most of that. You got to have some kind of, smoke screen for what's really going on, which is, it appears there's fraud going on at so many different levels within the United States right now. And oftentimes, it's showing up in the big, blue, liberal states, counties, and cities. That's where it's showing up. Pretty wild, right? All right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribed, hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.